Hello and welcome to another episode of the Handy Homeowner. So let's say you put in new windows in your house and now your trim doesn't fit. So today I'm going to show you how you can put trim on your windows to make them look nice and fresh. And I'll show you how to do those pesky extension jambs that are always confusing. And then I'll show you what it looks like with a windowsill that sticks out a little bit. And then I'll give you a couple cutting tips and trim installing tips along the way. So thank you all for joining, and let's get started. All right, so here's one of the windows I trimmed today. So we'll go over a couple of the terms. This would be your extension jamb. So this is a 2x6 wall, and this window is only like 1.5 inches thick. So we have to cut this to fit the right size of the wall. And then here we have our 45s. And then this little edge right here is where a 3/4 board is. And then the reveal is this line that I'm talking about right here. So our normal reveal is about 1/4 inch. If you go flush to this edge right here, you have nothing to caulk to. So that's why you always want to leave a little edge so that way you can caulk it and fill in your holes. And then this window here has a windowsill. So the windowsill is the bottom board here. As you can see, it's got a round profile on it. And then down here is our base trim. So if you don't want to do a windowsill, you can still do your extension jamb, and then it will just run the whole way, and then you would picture frame your window trim around it. So this would just be a 45 down here instead of a straight cut. So let's go through and I'll show you how I cut everything. Alrighty, now that we got our extension jamb made, these walls are 2x6 walls, so each window is a little different, but ours is 4 5/8. So we took 1x6 and we ripped it on the table saw. And whenever you're figuring out your extension jambs, you always want to go the outside measurements of the window. So the window we're doing today is 38 by 62. So to figure out our sides, we're just going to subtract 1.5 inches. So our sides are 60.5, and then our top will be the 38. And my tails on the window stick out 3 inches past. So that way it gives us about 1 inch overhang past our trim. We'll be doing 2.5 inch trim today. And the gun I'm using is a DeWalt 16 gauge, and I have 2.5 inch nails loaded in it. So first we're going to put this up, and I like about 1/4 inch reveal around my windows. But I forgot to cut the foam back. I'll cut that quick. Alrighty, now that the foam's cut back, now we can fit our extension jamb. There's a couple ways you can do this. You can shim the sides of the window to kind of keep it from moving around. And since we went with the window size, our opening may be a little bit bigger. So first I'm going to hold the window up where I have about 1/4 inch to 3/8 reveal around here. And then double check and make sure we're pretty centered. None of these have to be precise. It's just a visual precise. So first I'm going to go up top here and put tack in it. And I start with that so I don't move it around. And then I'm going to set my top, and I'm going to eyeball my 3/8. Got it. Gun, the slide on it, it's not a strong spring, and sometimes it doesn't fire well. I'm going to go to the top. I got everything lined up nice. I'm going to tack this side. Now if you're not going to use shims, I call it the pressure fit. So I'm just going to use a trim bar, and I'm going to move the top reveal to where I want it. So I'm just going to put a little bit of pressure on it, and then nail close to the window. That's pretty good there. Next we're going to go down to our bottom. And we want the same reveal as the top. Right there is pretty good. And then I'm going to push this back, and then this is pretty much going to be where it is. The trim has a little bit of a bow on it, so I'm going to put pressure on it when I nail it. And now we got that. So now we got to do the side, because this trim you can see is pretty wiggly. So I'm going to push pressure on it about there, and then sometimes if you want you can add extra pressure and then get it exactly where you want with a hammer. So there I'm going to put 2 nails, and then I'm going to repeat the same thing on the other side. Make sure not to shoot your trim bar. Alright, and last is the bottom. The only place you really have to put pressure on it or put nails is in the middle, since we nailed everything together. So right there is pretty good. I'm going to put a little bit of pressure on it with my bar. And 2 nails. Alright, next we're going to trim this window. And I just got about 4 more of these to do on this new house. So next I'll show you how I like to do my window trim. Alright, so I have this shim and I cut it with my saw to the point where this point of it is a 1/4 inch. So this will give us our window trim reveal. And the reveal is the outside edge. So the trim sits up a little bit higher on this board. So what I'm going to do is take a pencil, mark the top of this one, and mark the top of this one. This gives me my inside point of the 45-degree cut. Now I'm going to go down to our windowsill, and then that measurement is 60 3/4. Write that down. I like to do my sides first. If you wanted to, you could take your measuring device and then mark your sides. And then you can measure that to get your top piece of trim. But when I do the tops, I like to do the tops last, so that way I can get a true outside measurement. So I'll go ahead and cut those, and then we'll get the top on. I'm going to go ahead and mark both sides. Each ends of these trims. It's pretty square, so I'm going to mark the inside of the 45. And take my tape and flip it to the other side. And it'll be that 60 3/4. And I'm just going to put a line there. Now with doing the window trim itself, I'm going to go to an 18 gauge brad nailer. And the reason I'm swapping to a different gun is because this shoots smaller holes. So it's a lot easier to fill. So as you can see, I'm going to go right to our pencil mark, and I'm going to tack the top, and I'm going to nail straight into this 3/4 board. And I'm not going to shoot anything on the outside yet. And I'm going to take my smart stick. You could eyeball this too, but since I'm doing so many, this stick really helps. And I'm going to nail it about every foot or wherever the trim goes. And I'm just nailing this little edge here. And I'm going to go ahead and repeat that on the other side. Alrighty, now I can do do my top now, you can see I can easily get a measurement of 42 1/8. Cut that quick. My top piece cut. This bit. That's pretty good. Well, when I do my top, you can either shoot down or shoot into the side. A lot of people do the top. I don't like to nail towards my face. So I got 2 there. I'll press down. And this stops your top from winging out. And if you have a little bit of a gap on the side, if you nail it and this opens up, what you're going to want to do is take your trim bar, get it back there, and then you'll hold some pressure on it, or you can slide a shim in there, so that way there's a flat edge behind here. Now on my bottom, I'm going to take this same measurement, the 42 1/8, and then you can see I cut a 15-degree angle on there. You could also cut a 45 and then put a little piece in there and return it back to the wall, but I like the look of the 15. So what I'm going to do is go ahead, put this under here, and then line it up where it's flush on each edge. And go ahead, nail that. And there you have it. This window is pretty much ready for caulking. I missed the spot here. Now we can go ahead and tack our tops on our sides. Got one there. I shouldn't need anything there because I put 2 nails on it. And on the side, we're going to look to see where our gap is. And then this is when I'll swap to a bigger nail, because the brad nailer doesn't push it really tight against the wall like the angle does. So I'm just going to put a nail down here, and I try to put them where you're not going to look. One there. One there. And I'm not going to nail up here because this is nice and tight right now. If I shoot it, I could mess it up. So I try to avoid nailing it. This is just to stop the caulking from cracking. Now she's done. Looks pretty nice. Now we just got about 15 more windows to go. Tips. Alrighty, I hope some of those window tips help you out. And then let me know if you had any questions along the way, and I'll try to answer them in the comments. And then stay tuned for more videos on the way. And thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time.